Wake up with the news and information you can trust. Starting your day the right way with the Andy Griffin Show. This is News Radio 890, 92.5 KDXU.
Hey, good morning, 908 on KDXU. I'm Andy Griffin. Thank you for tuning in today. What was that? That's weird. I went to turn Stockton's microphone up and it's gone now. Whatever it was, it's gone now.
Sounds like a country.
Now it's back. Anyway, all right, we'll get that figured out as we take care of a little business today. Sad day in Hollywood, really for a lot of us. James Earl Jones passing away, and I think we got that figured out now. Are you with me, Stockton?
Yeah. Is it gone?
Yes, it's gone.
Okay.
And you're here. So, James Earl Jones passed away. Now, I loved James Earl Jones. I thought he was the consummate, or the perfect, really, actor for the parts that he played. And I haven't seen all his movies. I'm not going to pretend. He's probably made, 100 movies. I have no idea. But the ones that I saw that he was in, he was always fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Two of my favorites, Sandlot and
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, two baseball movies. And, of course, I'm a sports guy. I love baseball. But the characters he played in those movies were just perfect. They were just, like, you didn't think it was James Earl Jones playing a role. You just thought it was the role he was playing was who it was.
Yeah.
And I guess as a former actor, I don't know, are you a former actor or are you a current actor?
Well, I mean, I've had I'll be honest, I've had the bug lately. I've been thinking about auditioning for some community theater shows around here, but with the job I have right now, it's just not really feasible.
I was going to say that, the problem with that is those are late night jobs. Those are late night things, and you're an early morning guy now. So. But no,
James Earl Jones got his start with theater. His debut was in the 50s on Broadway.
In fact, he is one of the few select actors in history that won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Yep, that's how much of a legend he was.
His EGOT, they call it, I guess.
And heaven forbid we mention,
Yeah. And by the way, he said, "No, I am your father," not Luke.
Yeah, he says, "No, I am your father."
All right, I think we got McCrae Hepler on the line now. McCrae, are you there?
I am, yeah. Sorry I was a few minutes late.
No worries. I'm glad you're here. Good to talk to you, and always good to have you on the show.
17 times.
Every time that you're on, I get people saying, "Man, I'm glad you had him on," because McCrae always keeps us up to date on what's going on around town. So, it's always a pleasure to have you here, man.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Andy.
Couple of videos you made recently. Let's talk first about Black Desert and what's going on out there. It's interesting because I think a lot of St. Georgians, a lot of people that live in the county are like, I don't know how that fits in with me. How is Black Desert and the PGA tournament coming out there and everything? How is that going to affect everyday people? And then maybe just talk about what's happening.
Well, I mean, if you're, to me, like the PGA event specifically, the fact that we have a major sporting event in St. George, I think is like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I think even if you're not like super into golf, it's just such a cool experience on so many different levels. And I think it's like golf obviously has an impact on the city, like the not only the city of St. George, but Washington County as a whole. It is such a big part of our economy, and the way that St. George has grown has been because of golf. So then for us to be able to get this event in St. George is like seriously once in a lifetime opportunity for a town like ours, especially with the history that we have. And so, but if you don't have golf ties or you're not like super into sports, there's so many ways that this resort is going to impact families locally. But I've been telling people like the day passes out there are like $60 to $80, and it's a full day event. And like, I think it's going to be super cool regardless of if you're into golf or not. I think the property is unbelievable. And I just think that the opportunity to have something special like that in St. George is really cool. It's a huge economic benefit for many small businesses in St. George. The local business community is going to benefit. I know that people gripe about traffic and whatnot, but the reality is a lot of our economy is tourism, and if we lose tourism or if we don't have events like that, a lot of our economy suffers. So it's a huge economic booster. But then the resort itself, I mean, the jobs it's going to create, and they are definitely looking to fill jobs. I mean, it's a huge, huge resort, and the jobs, as well as some of the other amenities that are going to come for people that want to maybe do like a staycation or just go hang out at the resort. Over time, there's going to be a bunch of shopping and restaurants and some water park features along with the golf. And, hopefully one day there's some like mini concerts and different things there over time. I think it's just going to be, it's an amazing project and super cool to see. So as far as that goes, right now what's happening is they're just trying to get everything ready for the PGA that comes on October 9th. It's kind of a hard stop for the hotel to be open, along with some of the units for people to stay in right around the golf course, along with having 5 restaurants open. So it's basically a shift right now, it seems like, out there. It's pretty crazy.
Can you say that again? I lost that just for a second. I lost what you were saying.
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Hopefully you didn't lose too much.
Just the very end, the last sentence, yep.
Oh, it's basically a 24/7 operation out there right now. It seems like there's hundreds of trucks out there just getting prepped for the PGA to come with, opening of 5 restaurants and the resort. The pro shop just opened up last week, which is really, really cool. They've got 2 restaurants. They'll have 3 more open before mid-October. And they've got the convention space that's going to be ready here in about a month or so to start hosting events outside of the PGA event. So yeah, there's a lot going on out there.
Do you know, and this, maybe you don't even know the answer to this, will some of that stuff out there be in the price range that a St. Georgian can go? I think, if you can go to a restaurant and spend $30, that's reasonable. If you're spending $50, $60, $70 per person, then it kind of starts to price out some of the locals. Do you know if they're going to make an attempt at that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be your higher end steakhouse. There's a couple. There's Basalt Steakhouse. That's probably going to be higher end. I don't know what pricing is going to be like, but it's going to be a high end steakhouse, as well as Latitude, which is another higher end. But they've got the next one that's going to be opening is the 20th Hole Sports Bar and Grill, and it's going to be a sports bar and grill that's going to have, I don't know the pricing on that either, but it's not going to be crazy high pricing. It's all food, 2024, all food when you go out to eat has gotten spendier. Yeah. But they're gonna have $20, $30 plates for sure.
Cool, very cool. All right, let's move over to Exit 5, Dixie Drive. I know you just recently did a video about Dixie Drive. What can you tell us about what's happening there?
Yeah, quite a bit going on around that exit and down that corridor of Dixie Drive. One of the big ones that a lot of people are getting excited for is the Strap Tank Brewery. That's just going to open up right there behind the Dixie Center.
Okay.
It's actually a really cool build out. It looks like a big house. It's got a big silo on it, and it's really, really cool. It's one of the more unique restaurants that have been built recently in St. George, and I love different. I don't like the cookie cutter stuff. I'm good with, but I like when people branch out and do like different, unique, cool things. And so,
yeah.
Strap Tank is up north. This will be another location for them, the first in St. George, and it's got a bunch of different food. It's like a sports bar as well. But then they've got obviously a drink selection brewery that has a bunch of a lot of local beers that I've heard of, and I've heard really good things about the one up north. And so I think it's going to be a great addition.
What else is happening Exit 5?
Along with that, we've got the MotoZoo building. MotoZoo is going to be vacating that space as they move down to their new building on Exit 2.
Mm-hmm.
And what's taken over there are a couple local companies that have been here a long time, and then they're adding a new one. The first one is Outdoor Living. They used to be in the Kmart complex that was recently demolished, and they are actually rebranding that. No, sorry, they're keeping that. Outdoor Living is going to remain the same. That's outdoor furniture. And then they've got their other sister company is the Awning Company, and they're rebranding that to the Backyard Life. That'll still feature, they'll have awnings and barbecue grills and different stuff like that for backyards. And then the third one that they're bringing on is Cactus Road Interiors. Okay. And that is a high-end indoor furniture. And they're going to put all three of those in that MotoZoo building. And so they're actually temporarily on Bluff Street next to Chubby's, in between Chubby's and Ace Hardware. Mm-hmm. And they're going to, so over the next couple of months, as MotoZoo vacates, they'll enter that space. And not sure of the exact timing on it, but they'll be open sometime in the next couple of months.
Now, is Dixie Drive, development of Dixie Drive kind of stunted a little bit by the fact that you have the golf course right there and you have, Auto Mall Drive kind of branching off the other way and everything? Or are they able to, have they found some space to build some more stuff?
Yeah, they're actually, so a little bit further down in Dixie Commons, which is right across from the Maverick that's right there, along with it's a plaza. There's a plaza right there, and they're actually adding on to that plaza. They're doing it's an 18,000 square foot office building that'll feature 4 different suites, 4 different office spaces, and they've got 2 of those leased already to Panda Accounting and Vision Electronics, and then they've got 2 other spaces, and then right next to it is another strip that'll have up to 5 different retail spots. And so that'll add to the existing complex there. And then Cafe Elevado that was in that complex, they have closed, and they're being taken over by Liberty Cafe. So Liberty Cafe is doing their new build out right now, and they are 1 second. They're doing their build out, and they're hoping to be open sometime mid-October.
Okay.
And theirs is actually a new concept that was inspired by an old Liberty Cafe in St. George. It used to be on St. George Boulevard back in from the 20s, I think, to like the 50s or 60s or something like that. So
that's cool.
They'll have some old school St. George stuff in there, which will be cool. And then we'll see what else gets added to that complex. And then from there, it's really, that the other big building that just got finished this year right there is Onset Financial, which is an incredible building. It's one of the coolest buildings I've seen built in St. George. They're a large company that does, they're a large company that does equipment financing and leasing to different, so like big companies all over the world. They're actually out of northern Utah, and now they've got a St. George base, and their building is unbelievable. It's about a 55,000 square foot building, and they've got really cool downstairs. They're really into company culture, which I love. They want to make sure that people want to work there, and part of that is they created this lifestyle floor where they've got a basketball court with pickleball courts and a big gym and a huge bistro where people can eat food and a big patio on the back. It's really, really impressive.
I love that.
So I think it's a really cool addition to St. George.
I love that. I love it. Like you, I love people that also take architecture seriously and try to make things that are a little bit unique, a little bit of personality. Yeah. You look at even like the Larkin Group, what they did with the old Cameo Florist building, just unique things like that.
Absolutely.
I did want to get your comments on a couple of things. First of all, Sandtown Pizza is now open there on South Bluff Street. I don't know if you've had a chance to go in there yet, but congratulations to them. They used to be a food truck, didn't they?
Yes, they were not just so really cool story here. I've actually followed them from the beginning, and yes, I've already been twice. It's amazing. But they started out making pizzas out of their backyard. I was actually a customer back then. That's been like 4 years. They had a little townhouse up on South River Road, and they just created you could order through this app, but basically they just made pizzas out of their backyard, and it was incredible. And then they've really built a community following because they've been basically a 10 by 10 booth at different types of like farmers markets and catering, and they've done a whole bunch of things. So it's really cool because they've usually local restaurants that start, it's really hard to build a following. And that's part of like the hard thing with a local restaurant is building the following and spending the marketing dollars to do that. But they've already done that for 4 years. And so like their Instagram account is huge. They've got a really big following already. And so they've just hit it off with a bang. I mean, they've been selling out every day, and, they make the dough, it's all handmade right there. And it takes 48 hours to ferment and everything. And so they're still getting their systems down. So if you do go, definitely make sure to check their Instagram because they have updates on like timing and stuff. I mean, they have been selling out, and they have had to like reduce their hours right now because they've been set up to 300 in a day's shift, but they've been selling out of those pizzas in like 3 hours. Oh,
yeah, that's amazing. I know a couple people complain, hey, they were out of food or whatever. And it's like, well, you know what? A new business, and like you said, it takes a process with their dough, and sometimes that happens. But go check them out at Sandtown Pizza. Pica Rica, by the way, downtown, getting some national awards. I heard about that. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was a big-time award. Jason was very, very happy about that one.
And then I think the other thing that is startling to people, if you have not driven on South Bluff, and you know, we've been talking about them redoing that whole Kmart Plaza for years now, but it is almost, startling. Maybe it'll dumbfound you a little bit when you drive by and see the amount of, deconstruction they have done so that they can do construction. And I know good things are happening, McCrae, but it's a little startling at first when you see it.
Sorry, you had cut out there for a second. Where was that at?
The Kmart shopping plaza. It's pretty startling when you first see it and everything's kind of tore up. Oh yeah,
it is wild. And I'm super pumped that they're doing this. That they're doing it to that level because I think it needed to be, so I'm excited to see what it starts to look like. It's gonna be a really, really cool updated,
plaza,
feel.
It'll be very cool. All right, McCrae, I got to let you go. I know you're on the road. I appreciate you spending some time with us today, though.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Always appreciate it.
And just best place to find you, McCrae Hepler. Just search for you on Instagram, on Facebook.
Yeah. LinkedIn and YouTube, yep.
Awesome. Thank you, McCrae.
Okay, thanks, Eddie.
All right, see you later.
See ya.
927 on KDXU. McCrae on the road today agreed graciously to take a little time and talk with us about some of his recent videos. Again, go online. It's amazing to me the effort that he puts in, and everybody's like, I've heard some people, he's just promoting his business. First of all, number one, he doesn't really get much business. He's a title company, so he doesn't really get business from doing the videos. And the money he spends is his money. His company pays the money for the drone and the video editing and all that stuff. And it's just phenomenal. Again, search for McCrae Hepler online. He's on. He's got a YouTube channel. I usually just watch his videos. They appear on my feed on Facebook, and I'll just watch whatever his latest video comes out. Usually once a week or between a week and 10 days, he has a new video out. And we're growing so much. It's definitely worth the watch. All right, we're going to take a weather break. When we come back, we'll talk about a couple of things. We're going to spend a little more time talking about James Earl Jones, the great actor who passed away yesterday at the age of 93. He even made a cameo appearance on The Big Bang Theory. Not more than a cameo, actually. He was a guest star on The Big Bang Theory, and that was kind of fun, too. And I have a little 1-minute clip of how he found his voice. When he was a young man, he had a terrible stutter and didn't like to talk. And now he has, perhaps, I would submit to you, maybe the most iconic voice ever in Hollywood. We'll be right back.
Wake up with the news and information you can trust. This is the Andy Griffin Show on News Radio 890, 92.5 KDXU, Southern Utah's News Talk leader.
Welcome back. Thanks again to McCrae Hepler for being on the program. I'm Andy Griffin. Stockton Myers is here as well. Good morning, Stockton. You doing all right, man?
Yes, I am. I'm doing great.
Yeah. Were you a James Earl Jones fan?
Ginormous one.
I don't know anybody that didn't like the guy, right? I mean, there's certain actors you like or don't like, right? I mean, if I said Sean Penn, you would probably get about half the people and go, oh, yeah, he's a great actor. And other people, I hate that dude, or whatever. Even, big ones like Tom Hanks or Harrison Ford, you have the detractors, people that don't really like him too much. But I honestly can't think of anybody who's ever had anything negative to say about James Earl Jones.
Well, it's because, he voiced so much of your childhood.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he also made great strides in what was essentially, pioneering black representation in films. And not just films, but plays. And so it's just, he had so much on his plate, and everything on his plate was a gourmet level dish.
Yeah, no, you're right. And the thing about it, so he was an actor in the 60s. And he was born in 31. And he was fighting a lot of the racial prejudice that happened in America in the 50s and 60s and even 70s,
right? Even
till today. But he never made it about that. You notice that it was never for him. It was, I'm a black pine. It was never about that. It was I'm a man. I'm an American who is doing my best to play characters in plays and movies that people can relate to.
He showed what skills he possessed, and he showed that those skills are monumental to the film industry.
Yeah.
So
here's the report filed this morning on 24/7 News Service.
That's according to multiple sources. He was born in rural Mississippi in 1931 and was raised by his mother and grandparents. As a child, Jones developed a debilitating stutter.
You never get over it, really. You simply learn how to work around it,
He debuted on Broadway in 1957 in The Great White Hope, which was turned into a movie.
Because every time you push that pinched-up face in front of me, I see where it done got me.
But it was a 2.5-hour voiceover role that changed everything.
I am your father.
He was most well known for being the voice of Star Wars villain Darth Vader. He also starred in films such as The Sandlot, The Hunt for Red October, and Field of Dreams.
People will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom.
Jones passed away at his home in New York. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. I loved him in Sandlot. He played the hermit that had the big dog in the backyard, if you remember, and the ball goes in the back. They kept losing baseballs in the backyard. Yep. And finally, when they get enough guts to go ask him, turns out he was a big baseball fan, in fact, a former player, and he had a Babe Ruth ball to help replace the one that was...
Well, it wasn't just a Babe Ruth ball. It was signed by the entire team.
Yeah, even better than a Babe Ruth ball. And as it turned out, James Earl Jones, the character he played, I don't remember the name of the character he played in that movie, turned out to be a heck of a nice guy. And the dog actually turned out to be a heck of a nice dog, too.
Hercules.
As it turns out. Yeah, Hercules. But she did not mention, but I think we would be remiss in not mentioning the fact that he played Mufasa, the father of Simba.
Yes.
In The Lion King. And if you have, for me, my kids were Lion King kids, man. I mean, they, growing up, we watched Lion. Yeah, you too. Yeah, but we watched Lion King. I'll bet I've seen that movie a dozen times.
It is, I think, truly is Disney's best work. I think Lion King is.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah. It's that or Beauty and the Beast. That's how I feel.
With an honorable mention to Aladdin. I thought that was pretty good.
Aladdin's great, but the thing is, I think Aladdin, not to get off topic, but I think Aladdin kind of suffers. And a lot of people watch it for the biggest reason being the genie.
Yeah.
And it's just the point up to that, it's like there's a lot of weird little, I don't know, writing wise, I have a few little things with it. Once Genie shows up on screen, you're like, oh, I'm here for it the whole time. But no, Lion King, James Earl Jones voicing Mufasa, not just then, but he also voiced Mufasa in the 2019 remake of The Lion King as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Is that a live action one?
It's so funny because it's not people call it the live action Lion King. It's not live action. It's just animated in CG very realistically.
Okay. All right. I was going to say it couldn't be live action because there's animals speaking. They're, what do they call them? Anthropomorphic animals?
Anthropomorphic, yeah.
Something like that. And animals that take on characteristics of humans.
The problem with and also there's actually a Mufasa movie coming out this year in December.
Really?
Yeah, it's about how Mufasa became the Lion King. I don't know if James Earl Jones had any part in that because it's him younger, but I couldn't. But I imagine there probably will be an honorable mention for Mr. Jones.
Yeah,
in the film at some point.
He is and always will be Mufasa, no matter who they get in that newer movie.
True.
So one of the things I loved about James Earl Jones, and maybe not a lot of people know this, maybe a lot of people do, I don't know, but he actually had a pretty bad stutter when he was a kid, and because so when you're a young person and there's something that's not quite up to the snuff of everybody else, you tend to you shy away from it. For me, I was taller than most of the other kids, and I did everything I could I would stoop, I would kind of walk hunched over because I didn't like being 4 or 5 inches taller than all my friends and or something else like that. Maybe your hair is different, or maybe, I don't know, whether you walk different, whatever it is, you tend to de-emphasize that. So James Earl Jones actually did not talk a lot when he was young, and he talks. There's a little 1-minute clip. This is from an interview on CBC about how he overcame that. Check this out.
But in reading about you, I was amazed that you didn't speak for quite a few years when you were a boy, right?
Virtually, yeah.
Now, why not? Was it because of your stutter?
Yeah, it was just too painful and too embarrassing to try to talk. I was okay with the farm animals, 'cause
What made you speak
I had a great high school teacher, and he my English teacher in high school. He taught us Latin, history, and English, and Shakespeare and Chaucer. He just said to me, you're missing something. If you like words, you got to be able to sound them, because they're beautiful.
But weren't you terrified?
Oh yeah, always, and still embarrassed sometimes to get up and talk.
Well, you were 14 when you started speaking again.
Yeah.
So did you have the voice when you started speaking again?
No one noticed the transition through puberty, and by the time I talked again, from 4.5, at the age of 14, I came out with this voice. So no big deal.
14.5 with that voice, huh?
He almost literally didn't speak for almost 10 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He did speak to communicate when he had to, but mostly he just kept quiet for almost 10 years.
I had a similar issue, but it wasn't with talking. It was with laughing. I was so scared to laugh because my actual laugh is very high pitch. It's very I would say, I'm not obnoxious sounding, but it's very
like the nanny,
kind of like. But no, and I was very self-conscious about it because it wasn't the same as my friends. And so I would actually avoid laughing, or I had a fake laugh prepared. It was just a ha, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I would just keep it all to myself. So I kind of relate to that. It wasn't until I was in high school that I was like, I think there was a girl that said my laugh was cute, and so then it was
girls will do that.
Yeah, it tends to do that. So
it's so funny because we spend a lot of our lives trying to be like everyone else, and then when we become adults, oftentimes we try to not be like everyone else. We want to be unique and different. I was that way with cars. So as a kid, I was very, I was bigger. I've always been bigger than everyone else. And so I wanted nothing more than to be normal. I can't tell you how many times as a teenager and even, into my early 20s, I would meet someone and the first words out of their mouth was, "Oh, were you a football player? Were you a basketball player?" That's the first question almost every time. And it used to, I wouldn't say it made me angry, but it was kind of irritating. And so, after a while, I was just like, here we go again, but as I got older, there was nothing more I wanted than to buy a unique car. I wanted a Ford Mustang convertible, not because I wanted to be cool, but because it was different from everyone else. I wanted to have a different car. So it was so weird because I strived my whole youth to not be different. And then when I got to be an adult, I just wanted to be different.
Yeah, I kind of have another situation that was like that. going back to, that theater background, my brother in high school, and my sister as well, they were both drama presidents for Dixie High School their senior years. And on top of that, they both got to play very dramatic roles, dramatic leading roles and stuff like that.
And you were the little brother.
Well, yeah, and I was the little brother, and a lot of people compared me to them.
Of course.
Because I was the last of the litter, and and basically I had to come to grips that, like, I don't have the same kind of abilities they do, and I ended up finding my own niche, which was actually playing which was essentially character roles. Now, that doesn't mean funny roles. I mean characters that are very, very expressive and very, very, different from the usual leading fare. So I actually played Captain Hook when I was a junior in high school. I played Kerchak in Tarzan my senior year.
Now, was he the bad guy, or was that the dad?
That's the dad ape.
Oh, okay.
That actually sacrifices himself in the end to save Tarzan.
Okay.
And that was, I remember that was such a big. And then I ended up actually getting a leading role, like the lead role at the end of high school, and I hated it.
Wow.
So. I kind of understand I wanted to be a lot like my siblings because I thought that's what people wanted. But then when I became different, when I became different from what everyone wanted me to be, I became a lot more fulfilled. I felt a lot more fulfilled.
Interesting, yeah. Again, a lesson from James Earl Jones, though, is whatever it is you're struggling with in life, you can overcome it. And I don't know that there's a bigger story in our world of a guy who wouldn't talk because he had a severe stutter becoming perhaps the most iconic voice ever in the history of Hollywood. You think, Darth Vader and Mufasa and this is CNN, and I can't do it because I can't get down where he was, but just amazing and I think inspiring. Right?
You know that Vader they didn't have James Earl Jones in mind when they first did that.
I know. In fact, they had a British guy inside the suit, and they said it just didn't sound right.
Yeah, instead of you're a liar and a traitor, take her away. It was you're a liar and a traitor, take her away, and it was like, oh, okay.
You imagine some skinny British dude saying, "No, I am your father."
Yeah. The funny thing is, though, the actor they got to play Vader in the first place wasn't a bad actor.
No,
it's just you see this skinny guy you see this big lanky guy in a brooding, one of the arguably the most iconic look in movies or in sci-fi just in general, and all you hear. Yes, chip cheerio. No, now we
Cockney accent,
and so it was a last minute decision to have James Earl Jones play Vader.
It turned out pretty good.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the debate tonight, what to expect, where to watch it, and who's got more to win or lose. By the way, before I go to break, James Earl Jones was on The Big Bang Theory. He ran into one of the characters in the show. Can't remember which one. Was it Sheldon? I think it was Sheldon. And they end up doorbell ditching Carrie Fisher's house, and she comes out. She comes out with a bat, and she says, "James Earl Jones, I know that's you out there somewhere. I'm going to get you." Anyway, yeah, it was a pretty cool little episode of Big Bang Theory. We'll be right back.
All the latest news, weather, traffic, and sports, just like you like them. You're waking up with the Andy Griffin Show on News Radio 890, 92.5 KDXU, Southern Utah's news talk leader.
All right, welcome back. I'm Andy, 948 on KDXU. Not a ton of time left. A couple of things I wanted to bring up, though. Are you following all this controversy with the Phil Lyman, Spencer Cox Republican race thing for governor? So Phil Lyman has put out a couple of, first of all, he was not allowed to be on the ballot because he lost the primary, but he's telling all of his followers, and it should be noted, Phil Lyman won the delegates vote, but lost the actual primary vote to Cox. So Phil Lyman put out a couple of texts saying, first of all, write me in. And then all of a sudden this candidate appears, another candidate with the name of Lyman. So now you have to not only put Lyman and color in your own dot or whatever on the ballot, you have to make sure you put Phil Lyman. Otherwise, they wouldn't know which Lyman you're voting for. So Phil Lyman has come out and said, I believe that Spencer Cox paid this other Lyman guy to put his name as a write-in so that it would cost me some of the votes. And in fact, I'm going to quote. This is from the Deseret News. On Monday, Phil Lyman posted 2 photos showing texts that allegedly suggest Richard and Carol Lyman had been encouraged to run for office, quote, to take votes away for the other Lyman. The texts, which the Deseret News has not been able to independently verify, come from an alleged co-worker of Richard Lyman and claim that Richard Lyman had been paid $1,000 and offered a steak dinner by the Cox campaign to register as a write-in candidate. This elicited a response from Carol Lyman. She said, quote, everyone who has been reaching out has been asking about claims that we were being paid for this. We want everyone to know that Governor Cox's campaign is not paying us. I actually paid the fees for both of us, period. We're running to make a statement. People keep asking if we're related to Phil Lyman, and last Sunday someone asked, and it was a straw that broke the camel's back. I've always been proud of my name, and the negativity of his campaign is causing me real embarrassment, referring to Phil Lyman. Richard and I talked about it and decided to run so that we had a candidate we could feel good about voting for, because we don't feel good about voting for Cox or Phil Lyman. That's a statement from Carol Lyman, who is her and her husband are running as joint candidates for governor. They're not going to win. Phil Lyman's not going to win either. Writing candidates never win. I think the odds of a writing candidate winning are like 100 to 1 or something like that. Those of you that are Phil Lyman supporters out there, I'm sorry, writing candidate just is not going to win. And I do not believe Cox paid this other Lyman guy to enter. There are some conspiracy theories that are believable. This one is a bit of a stretch, especially since you have Cox and Carol Lyman both saying, no, this has nothing to do with it. It's purely a coincidence that we happen to have the name. But Cox is the Republican delegate on the ballot in November, facing the Democrat, who I don't even know who the Democrat is, and Cox will win. And I'm not a huge Cox fan, but I would rather have Cox win than any Democrat. Period. So. All right, 8 minutes left. We've got to get to the debate. The debate is tonight, 7 o'clock on ABC. Now, I say on ABC, they are the ones that are providing really everything for the debate, the commentators and the place where they're having it. It's in Philadelphia, and the feed, but it's on every channel. I mean, CNN, NBC, CBS, et cetera, Fox, et cetera. It's going to be on all the channels. So it's not like you have to go to ABC to see the debate. Sadly, they will not allow us to broadcast it here on KDXU. I wanted to broadcast it live. That was the plan. And in reading the legals on it, my boss said, yeah, no, you can't. It's a copyrighted broadcast. The other people that are broadcasting it have expressed written consent to do so, to carry it, to simulcast it, but we cannot do that here on the radio. I apologize for that. But we will certainly be talking about it tomorrow, what happened on the debate. You can't, like I said, you can watch it on ABC, but you don't have to use ABC. You can use whatever channel you want. Now, who has the most to win or lose on this debate? Now, we're going to ask the young guy here, Stockton. We're going to say, Stockton, the debate, the race right now is neck and neck. It's pretty even. I think the Trump people feel pretty good that the afterglow of the Republican National Convention is Kamala's going to start going down. It seems like to me, Stockton, and this is just me, but that Trump is probably not going to gain a lot of votes tonight or lose a lot of votes, no matter what he does. But there's a lot at stake for Kamala Harris, don't you think?
Yeah, because a lot of people are now seeing a realistic way to having there's many reasons behind it, but there's, I've heard celebrities go on and on about how the main reason why they want Harris in office is just because she's a woman. Which, if she was the best person for the job, cool. But also, in this case, It's just hearing some people say the best, like their biggest reason for voting is just because woman.
Yeah,
and
that's not a good reason.
Yeah, and so it's
not at all.
I don't know. I mean, if that's your opinion, cool, you roll with it. But also, that's not mine though. Mine is I'm going to vote for who I think is the best person for the job. And the thing is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just
well, right now, the public perception of Kamala Harris is she's not very smart. She's been hiding. The only interview she's given was an edited, pre-taped thing in which she had her
CNN,
vice president with her. And so I think tonight, really, it's got to be
first actual.
Yeah, I think
picture.
the American public are like, who is she really? Is she smarter than she puts on? Are we going to find that out? Is she actually competent? Because it doesn't seem like she is, but maybe she is.
And can she handle the bull in a china shop that is Donald Trump? And I mean that in both a good way and a bad way.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There are so many people that are not going to vote for Trump, that are not voting for Kamala Harris. They're voting against Trump.
Right.
It could be a trained monkey, and I'm not going to make a joke about Kamala Harris being a trained monkey. I'm not going to do that. But if I were, anyway, it could be anyone or anything, and they would vote against Trump just because of their hatred for that man. So, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what happens, and especially since, there's been so much weird build-up to this. Yeah. First, Trump was not for it, and then he was for it, and then Kamala wasn't for it, and then she was for it, and then it went back and forth of just being, then the rules of, have they decided, are they going to mute the mics?
They are, yes.
Okay, cool.
But, yeah, they'll mute the other candidate's mic while the one candidate is speaking.
It's so funny. Because I remember just like 2 weeks ago or something like that. So you hear, one of the candidates is wanting the mics to not be muted.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's Trump, right? No, it was Harris.
It was Kamala Harris.
Which is so unexpected because you'd be like, oh yeah, Trump would be the one who wants to interrupt the other one.
Yeah.
No, it's the opposite apparently. Yeah. Or some people have said that Harris wants to not mute the mics to paint him in a bad light because he can't help but interrupt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, but he was wanting the mics. It's weird. Yeah. I just think tonight's debate, no matter what, it's going to be weird.
It's going to be weird. I think we're going to find a lot of, they had the debate with Trump and Biden, and that led to Biden dropping out because people could clearly tell that Biden wasn't all there.
I find very ironic because the one who proposed the debate in the first place was Biden. Yeah.
He wanted to show that he was really all there, but then he wasn't. And so this debate, they pulled a switcheroo, got a different candidate in. I think Democrats are hoping this is the right ticket. This is the right, formula to defeat Trump. But I just don't know. I guess we'll find out in, what do we got, 9 hours till the debate?
Like that.
Yeah, 9 hours till the debate.
A night to remember.
We do have a call. I'll go ahead and take that one. We'll go straight on the air. By the way, we had like 7 or 8 callers yesterday. Too bad you weren't here. Anyway, thanks for calling. Your thoughts?
I was just going to say Kamala liked the mics to be on so that when she was debating with Pence, he kind of broke in and she said, I am speaking. I'm speaking. I am speaking. And she put him down so bad he was mortified. And she just wants to do stuff like that again.
Well, it didn't work for her because she finished in last place, I think, in the Democratic primary. Yeah. So it didn't work.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks for your input. Appreciate that. Yeah. It's going to be a strange debate tonight. By the way, I actually have a previous commitment tonight. I'm not going to watch it live, but I guarantee you I would go home and watch that bad boy and give you reactions tomorrow. Tomorrow is also 9/11. Yes. And we're going to do a couple of special little things with 9/11. And we're going to have Steve Dunham on. We had a lively talk yesterday about cell phones in schools. And a lot of callers, a lot of folks feel pretty emotional and attached to either the topic of banning them or the topic of letting the kids have the phones. And so we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. So, Stockton, thanks for your help today. Great to talk to you. We are running short on time. Again tomorrow, Steve Dunham plus 9/11. Yeah, we'll remember back and gosh, one of the weird things about it, that it'll be 23 years since the Twin Towers terrorist attack. 23 years. That means most young people, you go anybody under the age of about 25, they don't remember it. Stockton probably barely remembers it. He was 4 or 5 when it happened. And, you know, some of us will never forget it, but it's not their fault. They weren't born yet, or they weren't old enough to understand it yet. And so we want to hopefully we can educate them a little bit about what it was all about. We're out of time today. Thanks for listening. It's always a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow bright and early.